contestant number 2. Alan Prescott. Lightning. Lightning. Alan Prescott.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and anyone who has a child who has ever begged to have a pet. When my son, Baker, was 5 years old, he came to me and said, "Dad, can I have a pet bird?" I said, "Well, Baker, it's a big responsibility caring for a bird. You have to feed it every day, you have to clean the cage. Are you up to the task?" Baker replies, "Yes, Dad, I'll do it. I'll clean the cage, I'll feed it. I promise, please, please, can I have the bird?" Okay, okay. We bought a bird, a cockatiel. It is a beautiful bird, about 6 inches high, yellow feathers, a big orange spot on each side of its face, a feathery crescent. Baker was so happy. He named his bird Lightning. Guess who fed this bird? I did. Guess who cleaned the bird's cage? I did. Guess who lost interest in this bird after 1 week? Baker did. Well, since I'm now the proud caretaker of a cockatiel, I thought I would teach her to say a phrase. And since she was such a pretty bird, I taught her to say pretty bird. Now here's how I did it. I sat down by the cage, and for about an hour I repeated, "Pretty bird, pretty bird." Lightning replied, "Chirp, chirp, chirp." "Pretty bird, chirp, chirp." I did that the next day for an hour, and then every day the next week, and then every day the next week, and then every day the next week. And finally, after all that work, she says her very first phrase. "Pretty turd, pretty turd." No, it's pretty bird, pretty bird. "Pretty turd, pretty turd." No, it's a B, not a T. Well, several more days of repetition, and we finally got the pronunciation corrected. Later on, Baker comes up to me and says, "Dad, I have a question about Lightning." And I'm thinking, yes, this child finally wants to know how to care for this bird. And Baker says, "Dad, what's a turd?" Then he says, "Why is it pretty?" Lightning. More repetition, more repetition. Occasionally, I have to trim Lightning's nails. One time, they were getting so long that when she held onto her perch, her foot would get stuck. Her nails were stuck in the perch. This was an emergency. So here's how I perform that task. I put a towel over my hand, and I reached into the cage and grabbed her and trimmed her nails. Now the towel served 2 purposes. Number 1, it protected my arm from severe lacerations from her razor-sharp beak. And number 2, it fooled Lightning into thinking it was the mean old towel grabbing her and not her wonderful caretaker. She's not that bright. She only knows 2 words. So I'm reaching into the cage. I get closer and closer. She becomes alarmed. "Chirp, chirp, pretty bird, pretty bird." Closer and closer, and I grab her. She's a strong little bird. I trim her nails, I put her back in the cage, and I gently set her back on her perch. I let go of her. She falls upside down. I push her back up. I let go of her. She falls upside down again. Oh no, I no longer have a cockatiel. I have a bat. A yellow feathery bat. Well, her nails finally grew back, and it was time to teach her another phrase. Now, everybody knows that birds have feathers, and you can pluck feathers. I thought it would be funny if she said, "Pluck me."
No.
I don't know why I thought it would be funny, but "pluck me" sounded real funny. So you know the drill. I sat down by the cage. I was careful to pronounce it really clear this time. "Pluck me, pluck me." Lightning would reply, "Pretty bird, chirp, chirp, pretty bird." No. "Pluck me, pluck me." And then every day the next day, every day the next week, and every day the next week, and finally she says her very second phrase. "Pluck me, pluck me." Oh, it was music to my ears. Hey, what did you think she was going to say? Hey, this is a sweet little bird. This is a G-rated speech. We also have a cat. His name is Kirby. Kirby is fascinated by this bird. He thinks of it as his yellow feathery toy that he wants to stick his claws into and rip apart. He stalks Lightning. He circles her cage. Whenever she moves, he jumps on the cage. But Lightning is protected by those little bars. Sometimes I let Lightning out of her cage. And when I do, she carefully sticks her head out the front, looks to the left, looks to the right. Whew, no cat. She climbs up to the top and stretches her wings. Now, of course, I'd already taken Kirby and put him in my bedroom and closed the door. One time I did this and I was walking around the house doing some chores when I noticed that the door to my bedroom was open. I ran to the bird cage. Lightning wasn't there. Ha! I looked and there she was on the floor on the other side of the room with Kirby inches away ready to attack. All I could think of was that Forrest Gump movie when they said, "Run, Forrest, run." But instead I said, "Fly, Lightning, fly!" It was a beautiful sight. Lightning spread out her wings and took to the air. 1, 2, 3 feet. Then Kirby, he took to the air. Claws extended. 1, 2, 3 feet. I had to stop him, so I took to the air. Time slowed down. No, Kirby! I fell on the ground flat on my face. Kirby, he landed on the ground on all 4 paws with a few souvenir feathers. And Lightning, she flew safely to the top of a bookshelf. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I'm telling you this speech, it's a warning. If you have children, or you're thinking about having children one day, remember, when your child comes to you asking for a pet, just say no. If you don't, what happened to me just might happen to you. Then one last time, Baker comes up to me, and after all I've been through, all the anguish, all the turmoil, he has a big smile on his face and says, "Dad, can I have a puppy?" And everybody, we know the correct response now? No! No! Madam Toastmaster.